Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Filsinger Games Character Spotlight with Mike and Brock, and we have a special guest, Pete, with us here tonight. This is episode 4, where we're going to talk about Omega and Death Knight.
Yep. And then our topic of the week will be overrated wrestlers, who we each think is maybe a couple of the most overrated wrestlers in the game.
All right. Sounds good. Pete's thinking about it. We didn't prepare him at all. We kind of just said, hey, we're talking about Death Knight. You want to come show up?
That was literally what happened. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Because
we're going to have Sam Luptak as well. So maybe we can get Sam in at one point.
Yes. But I'm not sure if he'll be able to figure out technology.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been on one of these with him. I mean, in person, he's good.
Good times.
Okay, so we'll leave Pete wait for a little bit, and we'll start off with Omega.
All right.
And for me, he only wrestled about he only wrestled about 2 years for me. I don't know how many years he continued before he retired. I didn't start in like 2084 or 2074 when those all sets and stuff come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to have a title called the GWF lightweight title, which, because as I stated before on the shows, I rank my wrestlers 1 point through 5 points, and the lightweight was wrestlers that were only 1 point, which meant they're the bottom of the barrel, and that's where Omega was.
Mm-hmm.
And he captured the GWF lightweight title one time. He really wasn't involved in any big storylines, or he was just kind of there. I knew he was supposed to be the emotional support piece,
right?
But he just couldn't. He wasn't around long enough at that point for me.
For me, the biggest thing I did with him is I turned him heel right away. And he led a group called the Legends of Wrestling, which was him, Star Warrior Thantos, Comrade Terror, and Exo King. It was like a heel faction that I had take over my Fed in the very beginning. So I deviated from scripts so bad. My early Fed results are crazy.
Is that before or after Comrade Terror teamed with Dreadnought?
That was around the same time. I didn't know, Pete. I didn't know.
All right. It's all right. All good. It's your Fed promoter, right?
That's right. Remember, the reason I did that was they used to, whenever you would order something, they'd send you the order form, and they didn't have pictures or any descriptions or anything. It's just like special edition cards. You checked off the ones you wanted. So I'm like, Dreadnought sounds cool. And I got him, and it looked just like Comrade Terror, obviously. So I teamed them up.
They were brothers.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
How did Omega do anything for you, Pete?
He was the aged star past his day. So I can't even remember if he held any title for me. I would say that he probably did not. His claim to fame would come later, when he started managing. That's just what it was. He became much more influential when he stopped wrestling and started managing. When we talk about Death Knight, I'll say the main thing about Omega that I remember about Omega, but it was more because of Death Knight. But I just don't remember, anything good. I remember looking at the card going, holy smokes, who's this old guy? Literally. I mean, that was kind of what it was. And, I don't know. Well, honestly, I did not put the importance on him that later came to be with him. At the beginning, I just thought he was just like, he's an older wrestler hanging on, just somebody that was, he was filling the block. And then his importance came like as more was revealed about him in later sets. He was a guy that was past his prime, hanging out in the Fed, just wouldn't leave.
Yeah, that's kind of how I used him. He was like the aging guy. He was like a Jackie Fargo type character. You knew he was a veteran, and he tried to put up a fight. But he just couldn't Now Jackie booked his own stuff, so he made himself tough as hell even when he was 70. But with Omega, he feuded Death Knight, and they drew the first year. Omega beat him the second year, and then he retired. And like you said,
Was
it
that
wasn't
possible? Yeah. I'm kidding.
And it wasn't until he retired that's when he made, he was a solid manager, a great manager.
Yeah.
And for me in 2103, he teamed up with Morpheus, and they bought the GWF, so they both own it. They're both they're both co-promoters for it and bookers.
Yeah, like it was well after that. Like it was, once he became the manager and the backstory started filling in, and then his runs with during the war games, those definitely are like leading the teams to victory in war games and sudden death. That was more, for me at least, that was more of his impact than it was his original playing card.
Definitely. I was happy to see him get a prime card basically for a Galacticon this past year. That card of him in his prime is amazing. The artwork was awesome.
However, Todd, if you listen to these things, you don't tell people what cards are available for them to pick in the Galactic Cup tournament, because I literally was like, I'm taking Omega, and it was in my head. Of course, I had the last freaking pick, and Todd's like, well, so-and-so's available, so-and-so's available. I'm like, Todd, would you shut up? And yeah.
Omega went quick. That was because I was pushing him in the chat. So it's my fault. I apologize.
You too, huh?
Yep.
Because that's who I ended up losing to. But still, that new card is actually a solid card. Good. It is. That new card is good. It is. It really is solid. So yeah.
It almost wishes I started a Fed back in 2074, and I've thought about it. Where I'd call it like the GWFF.
Sure.
And then run it up into like 2085, and then just cancel wrestling.
Drop an F.
And then get the F out.
Yeah. And just something different, so I could wrestle those guys and bring them up to par.
And I think. Good.
I was going to say, that I've never done that because 2087 is where I started my Fed, so I've seen all the stuff to do it, but I've never gone back to do it. But some of the cards that have filled in with some of those times from back then, this Omega card, you could see this card being as strong as it was to be like the champion or have the legacy that he has that we came to learn about. So yeah,
it's definitely a cool card to have.
Yeah.
Well, since we're kind of pressed for time for a bit today. Because for Zoom, so we only give each guy 10 minutes, and so it's really tough to talk about Omega for 10 minutes when
true.
Yes.
So well, what's probably going to happen is that the Death Knight thing is only going to last like 7. So
oh no, I figured we'll push into take some of Omega's time to give to Death Knight.
Sure, yes, that works.
That's
for me.
What I was thinking.
All good for that.
So Death Knight for me, I hate to say it, he did nothing, not a thing until he became Death Mask. Death Mask was an entirely different thing, but his Death Knight, nope.
Yeah, I'm not even entirely sure that it's the same guy under the Death Mask Death Mask mask that was Death Knight. So I don't know. To me it was a completely different character. But yeah, so I don't count him as the same guy.
So yeah, for me, I tried to create my own backstories. And for me, Death Knight was a guy who's a wrestler who didn't want to put in the work. And so he tried to take shortcuts by using the robotic parts and everything else. And that was his whole premise. That's why he never made, a top guy. If he pushed himself, he could have been good, but he just kind of, never did. And if there was a shortcut available, he was taking it. That was his character.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, and that's not why he wasn't my favorite because of any of that. But we'll get into it. But I can understand, his stats were written where he was not supposed to be. Like he was supposed to be the curtain jerker. I mean, that's who he was. He was the enhancement talent of the early GWF. on the heel side, because you had Omega, who was, even though he was an older guy, he was the enhancement talent for the faces. So
yeah, I think they were easily the two worst guys on each side.
Mm-hmm.
What about you there, Brock?
Yeah, same. Like, didn't really do much, but just a fun character. Because you when he did win, it was a big deal, and I enjoyed that. And yeah, I always kind of liked him because I think his artwork is pretty stellar. The whole look of him, the mask is great, like with the grill on it and stuff. Like it's a pretty awesome looking drawing.
I think most of Chuck Carter's work was in the first few sets was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
go ahead.
I'm looking at it saying, when did he become Death Mask? How many years in?
He was in one of the first updates. So whatever years. 2090. So three years.
So 3 years in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
he was one of those guys that was one of the first updates, So when we moved away from just getting all new characters, he was in that set where they did, people progressed. So the year that Star Warrior got the update, he was also one that got the update.
Where does your love for Death Knight come from?
So seriously, part of it's the picture. Like I saw the picture and I was like, well, this is this is fantastic. This is really cool.
Picture, Brock.
Oh, yes. I didn't show him. I'm sorry. I was talking about him.
This is just a different look for somebody. And when you look at the picture, you're like, yeah, you don't see it as being, that he wouldn't be a good talent. I mean, that's just, what it was. I just saw the picture. And of course, I didn't understand everything that was going on until I started reading the handbooks and everything, but just flipping through the cards, I was instantly drawn to that picture. I thought this is just a great picture. And I really like it. And that's part of what helps me, or still to this day, if I like a picture, I may, help a guy out or give him some shots at doing something just because because I like it, if you like what you're seeing, then it's gonna be something that you want to play. And so that's what it was. It was the picture. Plus I have an affinity for fantasy, medieval fantasy novels, that type of stuff. Tolkien, it depends on who you talk to. Those types of novels. And at the time, it was something that I was just getting into. And here you have a knight, be it even though his name is a Death Knight, you have a knight, and it kind of led to that fantasy type of character, although be it in the future, that also appeals to me. And like I said, I had no idea about what the stats meant on the back yet. It was just that initial draw from the art, and then just my liking of fantasy novels.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I will say a 14-year-old Brock was very impressed with a Death Knight 2 card that he received at GlassCon 8, I think it was.
Yeah, it was 2000, or it was 1999, 2000, somewhere in there. So yeah,
it was one of the early ones.
Yeah, it was.
I think that character has to go down as one of the quintessential bootlegs of all time, like that everyone knows of, everyone loves, and we have you to thank for that. So,
well, you have me for the backstory, and you have Randy Bugdale and Mike Fortune for the art.
I remember getting the email from Pete. He's like, "Would Randy be available to do some art?" I'm like, "He's always available, but it can take time."
That's literally what it was, and I was like, "Yeah, okay." So, yeah. So, and there actually was, and it's been mentioned before in various places that Randy actually did add him to the NGO, and he wasn't supposed to be part of the NGO because the little crown on the skull, if you look close, well, you may not be able to, but it actually had said NGO in the background, and I do have a picture of that someplace. I just soft copied that says Death Knight with the NGO and not with the crown with the lines over it. How it looks. So yeah,
nice.
I think we had him do the art at the same time as the NGO, so he just tried. He probably just put it all in together.
That's what I remember happening. So yeah. Yeah.
If you had a couple of those printed, you could probably sell them at auction for.
Yeah, but I don't know
hundreds
any
of thousands.
Somehow someone sent me a soft copy of it, and I don't know if it was Chad or Mike or somebody, or I saw it someplace, and I was like, wow, I've never actually seen this before. So I do have a soft copy of it floating around someplace.
Oh, you don't even have the original art?
I have the original art for him. That I do, but
okay.
Not the original art without having the crown added on. So where it's the little crown thing, because he redid it before I got the original art.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but there was a soft copy of it with the NGO inside that crown, or inside that little area that has like the crown.
Nice.
And I do have a picture of that, but like I said, I think it's a soft copy. It's not the original hard copy. The original hard copy, or the original that I have, which is framed and hanging in one of the rooms upstairs, it actually is, has the lines through it. That's just like the card that everybody's seen or that was released.
Cool. And it should be displayed.
Yes.
I concur. You're going to have a room just for all your stuff now?
We'll see. I don't know. I would like to say yes. I mean, we'd have the room for it, but I don't know. So yeah, Lori just shouted no.
It has to happen.
Come on, Lori, give him a corner in the basement.
There is a corner in the basement that may have something in there, but I don't know where it's.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So right over the pool table is what she's going to tell me. So yeah, which I don't own yet either. So
you have time.
Yeah, we do. Yes.
It could always be one of the things, to reprint and hand out at a later con.
True. I've never. So I think when we did the original sets, or like when I did it, I ended up doing like a photocopied set later. So there was like an original printing and then one additional, and I have like the last bad copies of that. I've got like 5 of them left of that second run. And anybody that ever asked for them, I do send them to them. And I'm like, I feel bad for sending it because it's not the best photocopying thing, but it's still on cardstock, and it's like, but it still has all the story, and you can get the feel for it. Mm-hmm. Someday, we'll maybe have to revisit it, or put like down there like edition number 2 or something along those lines. So,
colorize them.
Well, he has been colorized.
That's true. He was in Promoter Prime there, right?
He was a special edition on. Wasn't in Prime. It was a special edition on the COTG Online.
Okay. Ooh. I knew he had been re-released somewhere in color.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it was. So way back in the early days of Champions of the Galaxy Online, he was like one of those specials for, if you got Promoter Prime or something like that, he was added on. So
very cool.
Yeah. For me, like when he became Death Mask, that's when his career kind of took off for me.
Mm-hmm.
But he's one of those guys. You look at the picture, it looks great, and then he's like, "What do you mean +3 strength?"
Yeah. Yes, right.
Or +2 strength and +3 agility. Yeah. Something horrendous, and I'm like, that dude's jacked. How is that a plus?
He's jacked, but he's wearing that heavy ass outfit is what it is. So yeah.
His original card, he had a +4 agility and a 0 power.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. I couldn't remember. I remember we did team him up with Vanity. And they were the Cosmic Pulverizers or something like that, because his finisher's a pulverizer.
That's Vanity's finisher.
And then his is the Cosmic Lance.
The Cosmic Lance, yeah.
And so we called them the Cosmic Pulverizers. And they went on a brief run and won, a bunch of low-level matches. And we're like, this is a surprise tag team. Yeah. And it for some reason it worked. And that was Death Mask's only, like Death Knight's only real kind of push. He just got thrown in, and I think they got a shot at the Intergalaxian tag titles, which was probably held by Titan Power at some point. So they just got the living crap kicked out of them.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that. Yeah, that happened probably quite often. So
yeah.
Yeah, really, the one thing that I do remember about Death Knight in my early Fed and on my very first card, and I don't know why I did one of those tournaments in Rio de Janeiro, and the finals the finals were between Lord Nexus, who I also thought was a fantastic character, and Death Knight. So I put them on for my secondary title. It wasn't for my Galaxy Championship, it was for the secondary title. And I thought for sure that, just once I realized how bad Death Knight was, I was like, Nexus is going to kick his butt. It's just, it's just a fun thing to get my favorite character, say, in for this title. And Death Knight won the match.
Nice.
So he was my first, interplanetary, but it wasn't called the interplanetary. But in essence, Death Knight won my interplanetary title and then held it for like 3 cards. I think he got DQ'd twice, and then lost it to somebody else. I don't even remember who he lost it to, but that's like his claim to fame. And I was like, I didn't even think that this would ever happen, but I just remember laughing at it because like he wasn't supposed to win that. Lord Nexus was. So what the hell did I just do?
It's the best when something like that happens. So.
Yes, it was. And I was like,
because anybody can win. We
That's
say
right.
all the time. Like,
so you just matched them up like that?
Yeah, I just did. Yeah. So, I kind of looked at the back cover of the original book, and it had like, here's who's the champions or here's who's tag people. And so I just kind of said, I'm just going to do this. And then I just liked Nexus and Death Knight. And I said, I'm just going to give these 2 guys, just put them in this match for the interplanetary championship, what I called my moon belt at the time, or moon championship. And so I said, and as I built the history around it, I was like, well, yeah, there was a Rio de Janeiro type tournament, and these 2 are the 2 finalists, and now here's card number 1, and they're gonna fight it out for that title.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, and like I said, I had for sure thought that Nexus was gonna win, but Death Knight did, and Death Knight's claim to fame in my Fed helped me like him even more.
Yeah,
was that he was my first moon champion.
That's cool. You had mentioned whenever we were talking about Omega that you had a Omega story related to Death Knight.
So, in the handbooks, if you look at it, the official story is that Omega retired 2090, not 2090, somewhere in there. And his last feud, the last main feud that he had was against Death Knight. So Death Knight actually chased Omega out of the GWF and into retirement as this last feud. So to me, that means that, no kidding, Death Knight won the feud with Omega.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean that's how it's written in the official handbooks. Omega retired after fighting Death Knight. He couldn't beat Death Knight, so that was the end of it. So,
and what a legend Omega was.
That's right. Yes. So,
good stuff.
That is, no kidding. That's in the official books. It was Omega's last feud was against Death Knight.
What I find interesting too, Pete, is you're probably the only guy whose favorite character out of the first 24 is the Jobber.
The worst, right? The worst. Yes. So, and like I said,
hey, I'm also a Detroit Lions fan too.
Yeah, well, I'm not, but yes. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it was just, he was that guy that I just got pulled to, and I enjoyed it. And it didn't matter to me that he would lose 90% of his matches. It was just fun to have a guy like that, and then or put him into some impossible situations and see how he did. And every once in a while he would get a win, and just like I said, he was my first moon champion. So that's something to say about it.
Well, that is like I said, it's interesting. As soon as we said, hey, we're gonna have Death Knight, we gotta have, there it is.
There it is. So yes.
We gotta have Pete Beck on the show to talk about Death Knight. There's no other expert around other than.
It'd be blasphemous not to.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the one move we could change, or one change you could make?
Oh yeah, we never did that.
So for him, I would love to say that it would be like, getting rid of like maybe one of the loaded gloves, because he actually has 2 loaded gloves on his card. But that's just so unique, because he's the only person I think that has the same move on any card in his original thing. I just, yeah, he had it on level 2 and on level 3.
That's some serious hardcore knowledge there, Pete.
Yeah, well, I'm also looking at his card, so I do know that, but I knew that before. And the reason I knew that is because I actually, part of Death Knight 2's story, with the loaded gauntlet was because of the affinity that Death Knight did for the loaded glove, using it more than once. That's why it ended up being that +1 move.
Okay.
But yeah, as I look at his card, maybe, that throat chop on level 3, level 3, number 2, that was a level 2 move that had the choicey behind it. God, that would probably be the thing that you would look at and go, can we change that?
That's brutal.
Maybe. Yeah, it is. It's just, that was probably one of the things that killed him.
Well, if he was lucky enough to get somebody on level 3, he should be able to keep him there a little more than 50%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's with him and Omega, their cards are both just so horrible.
Mm-hmm.
For Omega, I might remove one of his downs, so he only had, 3. Because I think he's got 3 downs and a pin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
He
might
gets
remove
down
one
on level
of those.
2 as well.
Yeah. See, so Death Knight had that down on level 2 too. But,
Mhm.
and yeah.
Like I said, both their cards are just so horrible. We're like, if I pick one, they're still going to be horrible.
Yes.
Slightly less.
Yeah.
I bumped the Cosmic Lance up to a +1.
You think so?
Well,
It's
back then,
good.
though, a +1 finisher could be kind of dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Either that or drop his pin down.
Yeah, I was saying because he was a 6'4" guy, wasn't he?
9-6.
Death Knight?
Oh,
9'6".
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's tough. 7 or better to kick out without a finisher.
Without a finisher.
I might, for him, I might just drop him to a 5. It's maybe a 4, just to add a little bit.
Give him one shot to kick out.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because really, if he was pinned with the finisher, the match was over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the things I'd change. For Omega, I'd take away a down, just so he could, be a little more Jackie Fargo-ish,
Mhm.
and last a bit longer. And for Death Knight, I'd drop his pin to probably a 4, just so he could make a kick out.
Hold up Omega's card right quick, Brock, the back of it. Ooh, too close.
Whoop.
Yeah. Getting a computer reflection.
Yeah.
There we go. Is that visible at all?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, his level 1, just with everything that's reversible, for the power and all that stuff. You would think that maybe someone that was as experienced as Omega wouldn't fall prey to trying to use so many moves that he knew he wasn't going to hit. But that may be something to be looked at. Just like all the reversals from power and agility. That hey, if he's gonna do that, then he
because he's got a +3, +2. I mean,
yeah,
those are all going to count. Those are all going to get.
Yeah,
starched.
I mean, he's gonna lose it immediately. So, someone as smart as him or as good as him, you would think would do something that wouldn't have those options.
Well, that's what I'm saying. On his 2074 card, he has none.
None. Yes. Because he was that
good.
smart. He was
Yeah.
that good. So yeah. Yeah.
So we should probably segue into our who we think are the most overrated wrestlers in the game. Doesn't have to be one. You can have 10. Just
Sure.
guys you think. For me, I know off the top of my head right away, it's Wolf.
Wolf was on my list too.
Yeah.
See, I would like to say that he would be on mine, but he wasn't because he actually won for me. So to me, he
Oh
wasn't
no,
overrated.
he's won for me. He's had
Yeah.
quite a good career.
Just the longevity and
That's
Yeah.
what gets me.
And he keeps getting better.
he's getting better. He's an Animan dog that has had a cleansing, even though dogs age 7 times faster. He still hasn't aged very much, right? And so,
Yes.
somewhere Tom has lost us on the logic of that, right?
Maybe there's multiple wolves that are plucked
Yeah.
from different dimensions or something.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, like I've had him heel for about 5 years now. Just to try to breathe some life into him for me, and I'm just like, I still can't stand. He's like, now because the power creep's coming in, so he's not winning a whole lot anymore, and so at some point, but he's good enough to stay in the top 40 wrestlers, but he's not good enough to win titles, so he just kind of gets lost in the mix.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then probably my other thing would be the Greek gods. They were just way overrated for me.
I always liked them.
Yeah, you can like them, but I was like, they just could not do anything.
Yeah, they had some success for me.
I wish they would have had some success for me. I really did. I liked them, and then you hear everybody else going, "Oh yeah, they were this," and I'm like, they captured the GWF tag titles once right at the beginning for about 3 cards, and that was it.
Yeah, they were successful for me as well. So I would never have said they were overrated. So that's just me. I liked them. I enjoyed using them in Actagon. I actually like Proteus a lot better than Actagon. I like that jovial, the fun aspect of it, where you just kind of a little bit lighthearted and was able to soothe the savage wolf.
Did you ever try tagging them?
Those two, I did. They actually they performed well. I mean, they had 2+3 finishers. How could they not do well?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I think Proteus was +3. Yeah, overhead toss. Well, it was overhead toss. I just don't remember what the rating was.
I got it here.
+3.
Maybe +2 or +3, but yeah, I mean they're just 2.
I think maybe a +2, but yeah.
Yeah.
He like I said, you hear people, all these guys, win. I've heard so many people where the Greek gods were the most dominant people, and I'm like, for me, they're you hear about them and then you get them and you're like, that's, like I said, they were overrated. Like I just couldn't do anything with them. Another guy like that for me is Vengeance. Vengeance has not captured anything for me. Like 10 years in, he's still titleless.
So Vengeance did well for me, and it was all because of having the eye cleaver. And I put him in opportunities because of what his story, his background was. So I think, I enjoyed just doing that with him. But I could see that. I could see where, he was supposed to be this really big headliner, but he wasn't that great of a wrestler. But his brawling with the +1 move, the eye cleaver, just made him separate from everybody else. That gave him a little bit of an advantage that no one else at the time had.
No,
so I don't think.
And last week we talked about the power creep, and I brought up how the add ones was kind of the start of the big power creeps. And how I use them is, for the add ones, they can use it once and then it just becomes a down 3 move.
Down 3. Okay. I can see that.
Because if not, it just gets ridiculous. Like so many guys have, 12 add ones. Like during a match.
It's every move of the match.
And that's how the opponent still wins.
One pinfall and they win.
Because you never will pin.
It just gets so bad.
Yeah.
And but I in my tournament, at the end of every year, I hold a huge tournament, and I call it the Grand Championship, and it's a 128-man tournament.
Wow.
It's huge, but it's in tournament wise, it's spread out over like 2 weeks, because I do one for singles and one for tag. So all 3 promotions I run get together, and Vengeance met Janus in the finals. 2 guys who haven't really done much, and Janus won it, and it shocked me. And I thought, for me, it worked out, the storyline perfect, because Janus just got kicked out of the Citadel by Chaos and them because he wasn't performing.
And I got your performance there, right?
And then he wins the biggest tournament of the year.
He just needed motivation.
That's out Chaos, guy who won the last 2.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it kicks in for him.
Yeah. For me, the 2 guys that I think are kind of, well, overrated. Like they're going to be newer. Overmaster for me, like I said, he wasn't doing anything for me for forever. It took him years. It took him like 10 years.
Oh, did everybody freeze?
I think Pete did.
And I'm like, why did it take this guy who's supposed to be the baddest of the bad of the gladiators 10 years to win a title?
Yeah.
So, and the other guy is Sly Drury. Just never. He has not performed for me like he has for everybody else, or like, when he took over as the commissioner and all that stuff, and even him using his things, it just didn't work, at least not to where I'm at now. So
he was obnoxiously good for me.
Really?
Whenever I did it, because I started a Fed a couple years ago where I just current, because I'm so far behind, so I just went current and started playing. And he won everything. It's like he was obnoxiously good for me.
Not me. So those two, and now what's his name? The Overmaster is better, but Sly just hasn't performed for me, not yet. So
yeah, I'm in 5, so I don't even know those guys.
Yeah,
I've just heard the names.
Was it Chaos Supreme, the alternate universe Chaos?
Yes. Yeah.
My start with him was 3 consecutive losses to Plethador.
What? Get out of it.
Yeah.
How's that possible?
But it made me lose total interest in the character. I'm like, because I put Plethador in front of him just like for him to squash.
Yep.
And he lost. So then we schedule a rematch, of course. It was a fluke. Then he loses again, and then a third time in a cage or something like that. I forget what the special match was, but he lost again. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it took all the wind out of his sails. And
yeah, because he's the one that the chaos that ended up in the tournament of champions won my tournament of champions. Like when I ran that the first time, that 16-man tournament, he just rolled through everybody. Yeah, it wasn't even funny for me. But yeah, I can see where that would disinterest you if you lost to Plethador 3 times in a row. Yep. So yeah,
it was funny because I was teaching a bunch of new people the game. Yeah. Like, okay, it was just like my tutorial. Like we were playing a Fed at the comic book store, and I'm like, all right, this guy's just going to squash him. I'm just going to show you like the mechanics. I'm like, oh, this guy's cool. And I let the new guy play as Chaos. Because like, okay, I'm going to let him win. And I'll be Plethador. And then he's like, you screwed me. You gave me the bad guy,
the weaker guy, right? Yeah.
That's just a funny story about that.
It almost looks like you're wearing a Omega on your shirt there.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, you.
I got Young Bucks.
Ah, okay.
Okay, I could just see the top, and I'm like, it looks like a caricature of Omega.
Is that Omega? Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'm rocking my Hamilton Tiger Cats jersey.
I'm doing
because they're going to the.
Are they going to the Great Cup? Are they?
Yep. They just beat Toronto.
Who are they playing?
If I'm correct, I think they're playing Winnipeg.
Okay, yeah, I know that we saw the Calgary Saskatchewan game that was a couple of weeks ago, but we hadn't seen anything since. So, because it was actually on down here.
Fake football.
Fake football. It was, yeah. Every once in a while, we get a game down here, and that was the one that afternoon. And Lori said, "Hey, is that?" And it was they had the wheat on the helmet, so it was Saskatchewan. So yeah,
nice.
Yeah. And Brock's like, "The hell are they talking about?"
What's this? Steelers.
Yeah.
It's the Blue Bombers and the Ticats.
Okay. All right.
I saw a big sign when I was watching the game, and it had Mosca's jersey, and it said "Win it for Angelo."
No.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's different, but yeah, cool.
Right on.
When you only have like 10 teams in the league, it's really easy to get there.
Yes. But not everybody makes the playoffs, right? No, I don't know. I can't remember. So yes.
Pretty damn close.
Pretty close.
Is it 8 out of 10?
It's like being in the SEC. You get an automatic top. 2 teams always get into the tournament. So yeah, which is not a tournament, but
yeah, they just pretend.
Yes, they just pretend.
It's like in the U.S. the Big Ten. We have the Big Ten, but that's it. Everybody.
Yes, there you go. Yes, but we have 12 teams in the Big Ten, or is it 14? I don't even know anymore. But it's just not 10.
It's more than 10, I think.
It is. It is more than 10. That I do know. It's at least 12. It may be 14.
I don't know if I could even name you one team in the Big Ten. I'm not even sure.
Sure, you could.
I used to try to follow the Oklahoma Sooners.
Well, they're not in the Big Ten.
See,
So.
I remember I was talking to Ty States about it, and he was so offended that I didn't know American.
You guys up there in Canada know everything about America. Come on, you guys study us.
I do have fans, friends that follow NCAA, and I'm like, I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you, Calgary Dinosaurs, how many Vanier Cups they've won, which is like our college championships.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I did know that that was the Dinos. That I did know that they were.
Oh yeah, because of Lori.
Well, that too, yes. But I mean, I wouldn't have known before that. But yeah. So, and I think Saskatchewan or the University of Saskatoon is the Huskies, I believe. I think I'm not positive on that, but yeah. So, well, that's because that's where all my nieces and nephews went. They ended up going to Saskatoon. So, U of Sask, as I'm told.
That'll be a trivia question I'm going to give to somebody in the States.
There you go. Yeah, it's just spelling. So it was funny the first time when Lori introduced herself to one of my friends, right after we first met, she said, he asked her, he said, "So where are you from?" She said, "Saskatchewan." And the guy goes, "Gesundheit." She goes, "Yeah." Like I didn't even know where the hell it was. It was like she had to pull out a map and show me. So, but yeah. And then I found out the name of the capital is Regina. And I said, "No, it's got to be Regina. It can't be Regina." And she said, "No, it's Regina." And I'm like, something wrong with you guys up there. There it is.
Very close. Add the V and you have a whole new.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's why I said it can't be Regina. It's got to be Regina.
That's just because us Americans are immature and we go to that.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we've made many a joke about that capital name.
Yes, I don't doubt it.
We should probably be signing off here.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you, Pete. Sorry for the short notice. Thank you for coming on, because like I said, we could not have done this without you. It just seems like you are forever associated with Death Knight.
Yeah. I'm happy to jump in. I was glad had the opportunity to get in here and spend some time with you guys. And now I have to start listeing because I've been on the show. So I mean that
yeah.
That just,
well, let's choose up next Monday.
Look like Sam Lepek's going to make it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. So please hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it with your friends, and tell Pete why Death Knight isn't cool.
Yeah, that's wrong. Don't even do that. You can try, but it doesn't matter.
And when we get around to doing Death Mask, we'll invite you back.
Yeah, you can do that. That'll work. You probably want to invite Matt to that one too, because Matt's really enjoyed Death Knight or Death Mask. So that was one we had talked about before. But yeah,
cool. Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you very much. You guys have a great night.